So, in today's cheeky markets, it seems that Bitcoin has partially broke to the downside, and it's gonna be very interesting to see if the bulls are actually hold and push the Bitcoin price up again. Altcoins seems to be suffering once again, but this also seems like a good opportunity to buy them cheaply. And during last week crypto news, the US Air Force gets into blockchain, Craig Wright must forfeit 50% of Bitcoin holdings, the XRP community threatens to do a takeover, and it seems that Bitcoin has failed the safe haven test. So if you're curious about it, just chill and keep watching. Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, and this is your host, the Cheeky Entrepreneur. So I think it's safe to say that this month was actually pretty profitable. If you have been following the last couple of videos, I think it has been on point. We have been trading this correction that has been going on, and well, in any case, I just want to jump into today's Bitcoin price action. So the first thing that I would like to say is that this is kind of like a partial break to the downside, and I'll explain why. But first, just as usual, I'm gonna explain the bearish sentiment, or at least I'm gonna try to explain the first sentiment that I'm trading with. So whenever I get bullish, I'm gonna start the video with the bullish sentiment. But in any case, via the bearish side, the first thing, and I mentioned it last week, that it was gonna happen, it was this cross around here in the daily chart, and we see that the 20 EMA and the 50 EMA are crossing down, and these can have a very solid repercussion. I mean, we have seen in the past, I even said it in the last video, like how long it has passed since the last cross to the upside, and just after that it was a very strong trend to the upside. So if this were to go to the downside, it could still continue. We really need to see where this goes, because it could continue trending down. I'm not quite sure. It seems like we are bound to a bigger correction that we are thinking, or that a lot of people are thinking about. But you know how it is, we have to take a look at the charts and we have to trade accordingly to what we see. Another thing that I pointed out last week is that I show you that there were like two possible descending triangles. The first one is already highlighted here, which seems that we have partially broke to the downside. I think it is safe to say here. Now, of course, in the past we have gone down, but we have not really closed below this line, and this is actually the first time in the daily chart that we close below this support of 10k. And if you remember, I was pointing out that in the last video there was this fight between for 10k between the bulls and between the bears, and it seems like the bears have taken control of that area. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. Also, if we follow up on the other triangle that I mentioned in my last week video, of course we know that this is a bigger triangle around here, with a support around the 9.5k, and this is basically the critical point we're at right now, because it could be a possibility that we find enough support here to actually bounce once more. And if we fail to rally up, it's gonna be very important to see this around here, because this is actually gonna be the point of interest if we want to trade to the downside or to the upside. Of course, that's if we find support from the 9.5k to propel us to there, but we will have to see, because chances could also be that we are actually gonna break to the downside. But if we broke to the downside, as I told you guys, it could really be devastating. We have to really see where we could go. I mean, I still have this channel around here, so we could go all the way up to 7,000. I don't really want to measure any targets like that in this scenario, because they are very big, and sometimes if you become very greedy with the risk reward, sometimes you will find out that the trades will actually turn in the opposite way. But in any case, guys, let's take a look at the last bearish signal here in the RSI. We see that we have a strong support. We have seen once, twice, 3 times, and even the price have not been able to break down. But here, guys, as of the last week, we see that the RSI actually broke to the downside, and now it's actually finding some resistance ahead. So this could be an additional signal saying that the price might still go down. Well, in any case, guys, I mean, the only bullish things that I'm really looking at right now is, of course, the stochastics. They have been very oversold for the past few days, and even like weeks before, we saw that for a long time they have been oversold, but the momentum is still going to the downside. I mean, we had this great move to the upside, which was a very nice opportunity to trade to the long side, but we will have to wait and see if this is the same, because it's not only the oversold stochastics, is also this strong support at 9.5. so this is the really make or break, at least in the short term. So we really need to keep an eye on this level right now. Now, guys, let's jump at the 4-hourly chart, and I think it's pretty safe to say that the trend is continuing. Again, this is where I highlighted most of my trades last week, and I even mentioned that I was actually starting trading around here again to the downside around 10.3, waiting for a breakout to the downside, which actually happened. And now I'm off any trades right now. I'm just waiting for some confirmation. And now the things that I'm seeing, first of all, is of course the EMA rebound. It has provided some good resistance. We saw that here it tried to go out from the rebound, and what I said there is that we still had this strong resistance, which actually showed up and turned the price back down. And it has been the same with the rebound. Again, here I actually said I was gonna take additional trades. Sadly, we had this super week that actually went all the way up. I had my stops at break even, so I did cover up there. I should have left my stops all the way to 10.8k, which was like the real risk reward in there. But well, in any case, we cannot dwell on these type of trades. We have to move on. And then I did again short the price around this box in here. I just waited for the rebound to take effect. It went back down, and then it actually broke down again from this 10k level that I was mentioning over the past week. Now, here's some points of interest. Of course, if you take a look at the stochastics, I'm expecting maybe the price to propel up a little bit. Maybe it can stay there for a couple hours before we actually head back down. But of course, guys, if you probably see it right now, I did mark it here. It looks like we could be developing a potential bear flag around here. So if we take a look, we see around here, I mean, in the daily chart it seems to be from the 10.4, but let's just grab more or less an estimate around here. So if we extrapolate this pole around here in the breakout area, of course we see that we're heading to the next support area, which kind of makes sense. And it's quite ironic because the only, let's say, bullish thing that I see here is, first of all, to see if we can find some support in the current support box. It seems that we tried to break to the downside, but we are actually coming back up. Potentially this could potentially form as a bear flag, if I'm very honest, but we will have to wait and see, because I mean, if it breaks to the downside from here, I mean, just the extrapolation says that we would test the next resistance, which actually makes a lot of sense. So right now what I'm waiting is to see if the price kind of reaches up. If it reaches up around this 50 EMA, what I'll be doing is at around 9.8k, I might be trying to short the price to see if we can continue in, and if we do, I might take profits around this area, but I will have to wait and see as well. So guys, we see that the altcoins are suffering once again, and I said in my last video that it was not a proper time to trade altcoins. I was waiting for them to actually go up, and again the first thing that we see is this important resistance at around 72%. Additionally, what we can see is that the stochastics are actually reaching up, so there's still some momentum to the upside, but we'll have to wait and see, because if they actually reach this oversold area, I think it's a good opportunity to actually short the price. or actually long some altcoins, and I'm gonna say why I'm actually already into some altcoins in a moment. Because even though this could be a good setup, I mean, looking at the bullish side of the Bitcoin dominance, we see that we have this 20 EMA bounce, and of course one of those bounces could actually continue the trend. And not only that, but in the bigger time frame, it could be a possibility that this is actually a bear flag. So if that were to happen, of course we would be reaching around, I think, the 80s, the 80% Bitcoin dominance, which would be very interesting. I think that would be just dramatic for the altcoins. I think they would really suffer around there. It seems that we might not be reaching that point, 76%. Of course this is not a perfect graph, but probably we would be heading to the 80s level if we actually break to the upside. So this is very interesting for altcoins right now. But now the reason I'm actually starting to trade altcoins to the upside, I mean, of course with correct risk management, because I've already said that this could potentially go very wrongly. What we saw from the total market cap excluding Bitcoin is that we actually broke through this channel. I mean, I've been pointing it out in a couple past videos. I'm not been reaching in this chart because this is more to trade against fiat, and I don't trade altcoins against fiat. I trade altcoins against Bitcoin. But in any case, what we see is that we broke to the downside from this channel. We kind of like retested it, and then we continue going down, and then now guys we're in a key support in here, and that's why I decided to take some longs in altcoins right now. Because also if we take a look at the daily stochastics, it's oversold. It seems that it's crossing to the upside, and this could be a good opportunity, and that's what I'm taking the opportunity to get into some altcoins. Of course I have a spread stop loss and a correct risk management, and if it fails, then I'm just gonna lose less than 5% of the trading portfolio, so it's not that bad. But we will have to wait and see if this actually bounces from here. If it does bounces from here, we might actually see the actual move that I've been saying, or this correction in at least in the Bitcoin dominance. It might actually go down, maybe retest this 67%. We will have to wait and see, but it seems that it could be a very profitable trade, so that's what I'm still waiting here. It doesn't matter if it takes a couple days, a couple weeks, so let's just see where this goes. Well, in any case guys, let's jump into the news section. There's some interesting news, so let's read some of the highlights. US Air Force steps up blockchain use. What else is the Pentagon up to? This week saw twin reports from smart contract startup Chain and blockchain data management firm Constellation, both of whom announced contracts with the United States Air Force, facilitating communication between units and headquarters and transmitting information between intelligence officers and the Pentagon. DARPA also has been trying to develop an unhackable code, which blockchain could facilitate, because the technology offers intelligence on hackers who try to break into secure databases. National security challenge related to the globalization of manufacturing supply chains is the phenomenon of attacks in which substandard, counterfeit, or maliciously modified electronic components are introduced into the hardware on which the National Security Industrial Base, the NSIB, operates. So guys, it's no surprise, blockchain has been a true revolution, and I think it's gonna be used in a lot of industries, and this is just basically the beginning. And it's very interesting to see that the US Air Force is actually gonna be using blockchain technology. Report: Craig Wright must forfeit 50% of Bitcoin in court case. The protracted legal battle involving self-proclaimed Bitcoin inventor Craig Wright and the state of computer scientist David Kleiman could go in Kleiman's favor. According to a court audience member on August 26, Judge Bruce Reinhardt rejected Wright's testimony, stating that he had perjured himself by providing the court with falsified documents, and recommended that he hand over 50% of the over 1 million bitcoins Kleiman mined with Wright, as well as intellectual property rights associated with Bitcoin software. And guys, I think there's no comment for Craig Wright. Like, come on, no comment on this. XRP community is threatening a takeover if Ripple execs keep dumping. Anger about the negative market consequences of Ripple selling XRP to its clients is prompting token holders to conceive of ever more ingenious means to fight back. In a tweet published on August 26, Twitter user CryptoBitLord quipped to his 102,000 followers about his latest scheme for a community effort, writing, "I'm thinking about forking XRP so we don't have to deal with the founders dumping. This will be a community effort. Retweet if you're in. Brad Garlinghouse, Joe Katz, you now have 60 days to stop dumping XRP or we will stage a community takeover. If it's a decentralized network like you say, we have the power to do it." And if it's a decentralized, as they say, guys, we already know that XRP is pretty centralized. It's really dependable on this company and they have been distributing a lot of its tokens, and we know that most of the supply is with them. So I'm not quite sure why this is coming up. I mean, what's the point really of forking XRP? I understand that it's a very fast altcoin, but let's be honest, Bitcoin will get there soon. Other altcoins are already in there as well, so there's no point. The point here, or at least for Ripple, is that they were using it to bring bigger investors, to bring the banking sector, so there's no point of forking it. I don't see Ripple really going anywhere if these issues are not solved. And again, this is one of the things that you shouldn't be invested too much in centralized cryptocurrencies unless you are really sure of what you're doing, unless you have a certain plan for it. Bitcoin failed safe haven test after 7% drop. Peter Schiff gloats. Bitcoin has shown it is not a safe haven asset, Goldbook Peter Schiff has said after the largest cryptocurrency dropped 7% in daily trading. In a tweet on August 28, Schiff, who has become increasingly known as a Bitcoin naysayer, claimed BTC/USD dipping below 10,000 once again on Thursday put paid to theories it functioned as a hedge against fiat volatility. Since last Thursday, Bitcoin has lost more value than any of the major stock market indexes, while gold and silver have gone up. Guys, haters are always gonna be haters. I think a lot of people are missing out on the extreme volatility of these assets. I mean, if you're a trader, you already know. I mean, a lot of other channels, you know, you have seen the Moon, you have seen Crypto Kirby. They're already taking advantage of these volatilities. And guys, it's just impressive the amount of trades, the amount of risk reward that you can get if you are disciplined enough in cryptocurrencies. There's no other asset better for it. This is basically trading haven if you are ready for it. But in any case, a lot of people are just gonna be highlighting the negative parts without really highlighting the positive parts, and it's just how it is, guys. Of course, Bitcoin is still too volatile because there's still not a lot of liquidity when compared to other markets. So it's just about waiting, it's just about getting that liquidity, it's just about getting more people on board, more people trying to buy, more people trying to sell, so that the volatility gets reduced. But it's just really a matter of time. Well, in any case, guys, thank you for watching. I also wanted to say that I've been working out on the update for my trading log. I'm trying to make it so that it measures performance. I already added an equity curve. In reality, it's just me about making the video. If when I find the time to do it, I will upload it, so you guys measure your performance. It's very important to have that into consideration if you want to be a successful trader. But in any case, guys, you know the deal. If you want to support the channel, please check down in the description. It will be really helpful if you also like and share this video. It really helps me grow, because as I've told you, it's very difficult to grow a page like this, a page involved with cryptocurrencies and trading, because most of the search engines won't help you and they won't even let you put ads. So in any case, guys, thank you very much. And just as usual, I would like to remind you all, stay smart, stay bold, but most important of all, stay cheeky. Take care, guys.